TL World at Malworld 1 YouTube channel. Novel, The Primordial Law. Volume 9, Demon Kingdom Chessboard. Chapter 163, 1105, The Azure Jade Coffin, Eternally Suppressed in Hell. 163rd of Volume 9. Translator, Shadow Knight AK. Editor, Shadow Knight AK. After Meng Kui and Yu Chu had stealthily departed, Li Wei and Shen Jingxin continued their journey toward the Silent Ghost Domain. They made no attempt to pursue the old man wearing a black mask or Shui Chong. Based on their current understanding of the enemy's strength, confronting them directly was beyond their capabilities. If a confrontation could be avoided, it should be avoided. Li Wei had no desire to invite further complications. His sole objective was to unearth the five-colored immortal mud as quickly as possible and return to the void ruins. To the top-tier cultivators throughout Yingzhou, the Silent Ghost Domain was regarded as one of the most dangerous forbidden zones in existence. No one knew precisely how vast an area it truly encompassed. Perhaps some had attempted to study it, flying along its perimeter to measure its extent, but the records regarding it found within the various, living realms, were few and far between. From this scarcity, one could only surmise that none of those who had attempted to study it had survived to tell the tale. They entered a region riddled with active volcanoes. Here, the tectonic plates were wildly unstable, the temperature soared to several times that of the living realms, and the air hung thick with poisonous miasma. Not only were living beings extinct here, but even the dens of dead spirits avoided this desolate area. After 2 more days of travel, Li Wei finally stood at the edge of the Silent Ghost Domain once more. The air thinned noticeably. As they crossed an invisible boundary, all sound vanished instantly. Within their field of vision, coffins drifted through the air. Some hovered merely a few feet above the ground, close enough to touch with an outstretched hand, their lids thick with accumulated dust. Others, suspended at immense heights, appeared as tiny black specks against the sky, with the highest coffins seemingly suspended in the unfathomable depths of the void. The sky here seemed different from what he had seen in the life realms. No starlight pierced the perpetual twilight, the darkness deepening in layers of black clouds that stretched into the infinite expanse. Li Wei stowed the purple-flamed Xuanhuan chariot. Dressed in black and white impermanence robes, he and Shen Jingxin transformed into 2 fleeting shadows, one black and one white, moving with utmost caution between the floating coffins, meticulously controlling their speed and suppressing every sound. Silence was terrifying. Being forced into silence was suffocating. Every faint sound around and within them amplified, their heartbeats became thunderous, their breathing rasped, blood surged through veins, bones creaked, and spiritual qi circulated with a palpable hum. The heavens and earth seemed to vanish, while his own self became, to him, impossibly vivid and distinct. The longer they remained in the Silent Ghost Domain, the more Li Wei yearned to shut down his senses entirely, if not for the fear of unforeseen dangers. Shen Jingxin, however, remained completely unaffected, serene and composed. Immortal maiden, have you entered your inner universe? Li Wei asked telepathically. Why is your mind so calm? Have you forgotten? I've been here before, Shen Jingxin replied with a faint smile. Buddhist cultivators meditate for years, introspecting their inner selves. For us, the Silent Ghost Domain is a sacred ground for cultivating mental stillness. The 8th Buddha is a man of the mortal realm, fond of worldly pleasures and vibrant chaos. It's only natural that he would instinctively reject silence and desolation at his core, leaving his mind vulnerable to their influence. Perhaps you should consider using this opportunity to construct your cosmic diagram within the heart. Construct my cosmic diagram within the heart. Wouldn't that bind my inner self, confining my inner universe within limitations? Li Wei had his own pursuit of the great Tao, drawing wisdom from various schools of thought without blindly following the cultivation path of Mandala Hall Palace. He suddenly stopped, carefully sensing the earth qi around him and the earth element spring within his ancestral field. The earth qi in this realm is indeed strengthening. Cultivators from Saint Mountain descent training in this sacred land will undoubtedly achieve twice the results with half the effort. Immortal maiden, do you happen to know why these coffins are able to remain suspended in midair? The Silent Ghost Domain was crisscrossed by deep fissures in the earth. At this moment, the pair was making their way deeper into the Ghost Domain, walking along the precipitous edge of one such rift valley. Within the chasm below, where thick, gray-black mists of yin energy and ghostly vapors swirled, coffins could be seen floating in suspension there as well. Shen Jingxin gently shook her head, her red lips remaining motionless as she projected her thoughts through willpower. The seniors of Mandala Hall Palace studied this phenomenon extensively but could never unravel its cause. It's like, no one knows why this place is silent, why so many coffins float here, or who interred them. Li Wei gazed at a bronze coffin covered in copper rust, hovering at the center of the chasm. What exactly was so remarkable about the coffins that the elder from the Mandala Palace took away all those years ago? Shen Jingxin had naturally asked about this before. It's said that the coffins in the silent ghost domain are divided into 4 tiers, from lowest to highest: wooden, bronze, golden, and jade. Wooden coffins are the most numerous, scattered throughout the ghost domain. Though crafted from special wood that resists decay for 10,000 years, the passage of endless ages has caused many to rot away. Consequently, the remains within them either remain suspended in midair or have plummeted to the ground. Corpses suspended in the void remain relatively well preserved. Those that have fallen to the ground show varying degrees of decay, some even reduced to dust. The senior from Mandala Hall Palace who brought coffins back to the temple all chose the highest grade jade coffins. Look, that's one over there, a jade coffin. Li Wei followed Shen Jingxin's gaze. There, at a point where 3 rift valleys converged, a phenomenon known as a gathering of coffins was unfolding before their eyes. Vast numbers of wooden, bronze, and golden coffins clustered together, suspended at varying heights. At the very center of the floating mass, an azure jade coffin stood out prominently. Upon observing it intently for an extended period, one would realize that the coffins were not static, rather, they were slowly revolving around the central green jade coffin. Li Wei involuntarily slowed his pace, coming to a halt upon the grassy verge at the edge of the canyon. The world was dark and silent, the ochre-brown earth chi rising like laser beams into the void. The scene before them exuded an indescribable grandeur. For countless years, these coffins had floated here, suspended for reasons unknown. What glorious lives had these occupants lived? Now, gathered together, they seemed to hold some deeper significance. You've returned. You've finally returned. A faint, almost imperceptible voice echoed in Li Wei's mind, sudden and unexpected. For the first time in days, Li Wei heard a voice other than Shen Jingxin's. The abruptness startled him into a defensive stance. He spun around, drawing his sword, and instinctively hissed, "Who's there?" The whisper was barely audible. But in the silent ghost domain, it struck like thunder. Before Li Wei could react, the faint sound waves reverberated through the chamber, causing all the floating coffins to drift away. The wooden coffins groaned and creaked, their sounds intertwining into a grand, discordant symphony, as if something were about to burst forth from within. The bronze and golden coffins, meanwhile, sank downward, carrying a bone-chilling aura as they hurtled toward Li Wei and Shen Jingxin. Even Shen Jingxin, with her serene composure, paled visibly. "Move. We have to get out of here now." Suddenly, the azure jade coffin suspended in midair began to emit a faint, soft glow. As the light rippled outward, all the moving coffins froze in place, regaining their stillness as if time itself had stopped. The bronze and golden coffins that had been hurtling toward Li Wei and Shen Jingxin now halted, automatically splitting apart to create a path. At the end of this path lay the azure jade coffin. This bizarre scene left Shen Jingxin bewildered. What just happened? Li Wei's gaze remained fixed on the azure jade coffin. "I think someone spoke to me just now, but I can't be sure. Is it inviting me to meet it?" "It seems like an invitation," Shen Jingxin replied. "But be careful. Legend has it that many powerful figures among both the living beings and dead spirits, recognizing the silent ghost domain's unique nature, have seized these coffins as their final resting places in their twilight years. Jade coffins would undoubtedly be their preferred choice. Indeed, being interred here makes the likelihood of one's corpse being looted or desecrated far, far smaller." Li Wei mused. After weighing the risks carefully, Li Wei ultimately decided to go and investigate the azure jade coffin. "Immortal maiden, please retreat to a safe distance. If some ancient monster is indeed luring me forward and a fight breaks out, don't worry about me, just escape. I have methods to handle this." Shen Jingxin did not retreat, she remained standing exactly where she was. Wielding the yellow dragon sword and shielded by the 5 elements reverse wheel, Li Wei moved with ethereal silence, stepping from one floating coffin to another. He swiftly reached the azure jade coffin, suspended 100 jong above the ground. Standing atop a golden floating coffin, he tilted his head slightly, scrutinizing the jade coffin at close range. The azure jade coffin wasn't lying horizontally as one might expect, instead, it stood upright in the void, like a solitary and proud monarch. Against the backdrop of countless weathered and decaying wooden, bronze, and golden coffins, the green jade coffin shone pristine and new, its surface shimmering with a faint, ethereal luster. Li Wei's pupils contracted sharply as his gaze fell upon a single drop of bloodstain situated right in the center of the coffin lid. Despite countless millennia having passed, the bloodstain remained vividly crimson, having seeped deep into the jade. An indescribable bloodline resonance surged through Li Wei's gaze, flooding his mind and causing his heart to pound wildly. He immediately clasped his sword in a gesture of deep respect and bowed low, transmitting his voice toward the coffin. "This junior, Li Wei, offers his humble greetings to the senior within. Was it indeed you, senior, who was just now speaking to me?" A profound, deathly silence ensued, there was no response. Li Wei pondered for a moment, then spoke directly. may I ask, was that voice that just entered my mind the voice of a senior? Still, there was only silence. His voice failed to trigger any vibration among the surrounding multitude of coffins. Li Wei glanced at Shen Jingxin, who stood at the edge of the ravine in the distance. Finally unable to suppress the intense stirring within his heart, he gently extended a finger to touch the bloodstain upon the coffin lid. Boom! A massive tremor shook his body, and his consciousness reeled. Darkness swallowed Li Wei's vision, and in an instant, he found himself on a colossal battlefield. The firmament had shattered, revealing countless figures radiating immense qi, their banners obscuring the void as thunderous war drums reverberated. They wielded divine weapons and unleashed world-scorching, sea-boiling divine powers and laws. Below, immortal mountains crumbled, great rivers evaporated, and cities were reduced to ashes. The earth was plowed again and again, a scene of utter apocalypse. I am Li Xuanxiao. I will stand and die, but never kneel to live. Today, I lead the heroic warriors of my clan to challenge you. A white-robed figure astride a 5-clawed true dragon sword passed Li Wei, charging straight toward the shattered firmament. Boom! A dense barrage of lightning bolts erupted from the celestial fissures, engulfing him in an incandescent maelstrom. Li Wei jerked awake, his consciousness snapping back to the silent ghost domain. His head throbbed violently as he gasped for breath, immediately withdrawing his finger from the green jade coffin. That figure riding the 5-clawed true dragon, Li Xuanxiao. Could he be the person inside this coffin? The vivid images lingered in Li Wei's mind, his skull aching as if pierced by needles. It felt as though he had glimpsed a vision he shouldn't have seen, triggering a backlash from the soul spirit within the coffin. Suddenly, all the coffins resumed their silent rotations. Golden and bronze coffins, as if deliberately, crashed into Li Wei, driving him away. Though burning with curiosity, Li Wei had no choice but to retreat to the surface and regroup with Shen Jingxin. A frigid wind swept across the firmament, parting the lead black clouds. Through the gaps in the clouds, a squadron of eerie dead spirits emerged. They were humanoid in form, with solid upper bodies, heads, and arms. Their lower bodies were ethereal, like wisps of qi. Their faces lacked mouths and ears, dominated instead by a single, vertical eye that filled their entire face. Li Wei and Shen Jingxin sensed the anomalous energy fluctuations first. They immediately activated their impermanence robes, concealing themselves beneath a wooden coffin. Shen Jingxin dared not transmit her voice. Instead, she wrote in Li Wei's palm with her finger, "Those are eye ghosts, guardians of the silent ghost domain. Extremely dangerous." Whoosh! Beams of light shot from the eye ghost's eyes, probing the area below. The beams then converged on the ground near the azure jade coffin, scattering into smaller beams to meticulously scan the area. The coffin's earlier disturbances had clearly alerted them. One eye ghost floated past just a few steps away from Li Wei and Shen Jingxin. Silent as the grave, it radiated intense cold. Its upper body was covered in scales, and its claws were long and razor-sharp. Its lower body resembled a thin veil, shimmering with yin ghost scriptures. The vertical eye was the size of a palm, pitch black like an abyss. The eye ghost leader hovered above the azure jade coffin, clutching a long black wooden staff. A chilling, eerie sound emanated from its eyes, a faint, mocking laughter. It struck the top of the coffin several times with the staff, as if knocking, then ordered its squad to retreat, vanishing into the sky. Li Wei emerged from beneath the wooden coffin, his gaze hardening as he watched the eye ghost disappear. It seems these eye ghosts aren't guarding the silent ghost domain, he said, but rather monitoring and suppressing it. The figure that had appeared in his sea of consciousness earlier had identified himself as Li Xuanxiao. Sharing the same surname and having blood that resonated with his own, Li Wei naturally felt hostility toward the eye ghost's arrogant display of striking the coffin. Li Wei and Shen Jingxin continued their journey forward. The journey to the burial abyss of the gods was long and arduous. As the two traveled, they continued their cultivation, at times discussing the 5 qi heavenly cycle technique, at others studying the 72 pages of the earth tome, or simply sitting in meditation to absorb the ambient earth qi. Li Wei, however, remained constantly unsettled. With every jade coffin they encountered along the way, he would be dragged into a vortex of ancient memories. Even when he did not physically touch the coffins, he would frequently lose consciousness while meditating. On one such occasion, he was once again pulled into a terrifying primordial realm. An unimaginably colossal hand descended from the starry sky, shattering space and obliterating the entire continent of Yingzhou, causing it to vanish into the cosmos as surrounding planets crumbled into nothingness. A voice that made his very soul tremble echoed in his ears, eternally suppressed in hell. Cast into the sea of souls. Li Wei couldn't explain why he was able to witness such a scene. Nor could he fathom why, upon seeing a world destroyed, he instinctively knew it was Yingzhou. It was as if his own consciousness had somehow overlapped with someone else's memories, granting him the ability to witness these events and identify them. Blank. End of chapter. Subscribe to the MTL World at Malworld 1 YouTube channel. Novel, The Primordial Law. Volume 9, Demon Kingdom Chessboard. Chapter 164, 1106, Ancestral Descendants. 164th of Volume 9. Translator, Shadow Knight AK. Editor, Shadow Knight AK. Another month passed. Li Wei's consciousness had grown muddled and exhausted. His head throbbed violently, as if countless voices were clamoring in his mind. Shen Jingxin, noticing his deteriorating state, realized that Li Wei had discovered something incomprehensible about himself. Why don't you retreat into the cosmic pouch for now? It's pointless. Some things can't be avoided by hiding, Li Wei said, waving his hand dismissively. He sat cross-legged on the ground, preparing to meditate and regulate his breathing. He dared not close his eyes. Each time he did, fragments of abnormal memories would flood his mind. He desperately wanted to uncover the secrets behind these fragments, to unearth his true origins, but he truly felt he could endure it no longer. Half an hour later, his eyelids began to droop uncontrollably. Darkness engulfed Li Wei's vision. When he reopened his eyes, he was attacked by screams and the sounds of slaughter. Figures darted frantically around him, jostling him off balance. An elderly man was pierced by a beam of light, his body exploding into fragments beside Li Wei with a sickening pop. A group of young men and women, retreating under the protection of 4 armored cultivators, was obliterated by a fireball from the heavens, leaving only a burning blood mist. The firmament was blindingly bright, so bright, in fact, that Li Wei could not even open his eyes. A blazing sun was hurtling across the sky. No, it was a mirror as vast as the sun, flying beyond the cosmos, scorching the earth, and annihilating all life. Every living being felt as if they were trapped in a molten furnace. The mirror's searing light scanned the land, searching for something. From beyond the cosmos, a thunderous voice boomed, its sonic waves reverberating through the 9 heavens and 10 earths. The direct lineage of the Li clan, masters of yin and yang, attuned to the laws of life and death, possess the forbidden power to summon souls, capable of resurrecting ancient, terrifying entities. They pose an immeasurable threat and must be eradicated completely. I possess the list of ancestral descendants. 14 remain alive. Slaughter them all. Not a single one shall be spared. As for those who do not possess the ancestral lineage bloodline, ignore them for now, they are of no consequence. Li Wei felt as though he were living through a nightmare. Stricken with terror, he fled and hid in every direction, yet ultimately, he was found. With a chilling, found you. A massive, searing beam of mirror light descended from the cosmos and struck him. His entire body erupted into flames as he watched his skin and flesh melt away. Li Wei jolted awake, gasping deeply. His fists clenched, his entire body trembled, and tears streaked his face. A white silk handkerchief, carrying a lingering fragrance, was offered to him. Shen Jingxin, usually sharp-tongued, eloquent, and always wearing a faint smile, had become silent and unsmiling, as if she could guess what Li Wei was experiencing. Yet, she never once asked about it directly. She knew when to let her brilliance shine forth, but she also understood the virtues of restraint and empathy. Li Wei accepted the handkerchief, wiped away his tear stains, and cast a grateful glance before rising to his feet. He stood even straighter, his gaze fixed on the depths of the silent ghost domain. I'm fine. In fact, I'm even more eager to reach the burial abyss of the gods now. Immortal maiden, let's continue onward. 4 days later. A majestic immortal mountain range appeared on the horizon, shrouded in ochre earth chi. Ancient and mysterious, it seemed to gradually materialize like a lost world from antiquity. This was a true immortal mountain. Even from afar, its 4-colored, luminous peaks, dense with immortal soil, could be seen. The radiance was not dazzling, yet it exuded an ancient, profound aura. The number of floating coffins had dwindled, with no wooden ones remaining, only bronze and golden ones. The ground was a tricolored expanse of spiritual soil, littered with shattered rocks and crisscrossed by deep ravines. Some of the fissures in the earth were so vast that they were utterly impassable. For the first time since entering the silent ghost domain, Shen Jingxin broke her silence. Legend has it that beyond this range of immortal peaks lies the abyss that serves as a gateway to the underworld. Within these mountains lie buried the spirits of immortals and gods, the final battlefield where the era of ancient immortals and colossal beasts met its end. Li Wei turned to look at her, a look of astonishment on his face. Shen Jingxin smiled faintly, radiating unparalleled grace. The immortal spiritual energy of those mountains can counteract the silent ghost domain, allowing sound to exist here. We don't need to enter the burial abyss of the gods. The 5-colored immortal mud can likely be found within the immortal mountains themselves. However, the path to ascend has changed from what our senior from Mandala Hall Palace recorded. On our previous expedition, Qing Zijing and I were forced to turn back before we had even reached the foot of the mountains. Throughout their journey, Li Wei and Shen Jingxin had kept an eye out for Qingshang. Unfortunately, the silent ghost domain was vast and boundless, making finding her like searching for a needle in the ocean. There's an aura of darkness. Li Wei's heaven soul sensed something, and he and Shen Jingxin immediately concealed themselves. After absorbing the spiritual consciousness light rain from Camellia branch hanging the moon, within the Empress's spirit realm, both his heaven soul and human soul had strengthened prematurely, as if he had condensed his souls for centuries. In terms of perceptive ability, even sect master level experts might not surpass him. 4 dark knights, shrouded in swirling black cloud mist, advanced silently in a line several zhang above the ground. They were approaching the distant immortal mountain peaks from another direction, still 20 to 30 li away from Li Wei and Shen Jingxin. The pair followed them in utter silence. As they drew closer to the immortal mountain peaks, a majestic and sacred aura washed over them, exuding terrifying pressure that instinctively inspired awe. Piercing through the veils of immortal mists and the ochre-hued clouds of telluric energy, their vision revealed even greater detail. Dozens of immortal peaks soared into the sky, connected in a chain. Their cliffs were steep, adorned with cascading waterfalls and lush vegetation. Suddenly, Li Wei's scalp tingled. He turned to Shen Jingxin beside him. That phantom image looming behind the peaks. I'm not seeing things, am I? Shen Jingxin gently shook her head. You're not mistaken. I see it too, a massive chain descending from beyond the cosmos. How could such a massive chain even exist in this world? It was no wonder Li Wei could scarcely believe his own eyes, for that chain was even thicker and more massive than the mountain peaks themselves. Moreover, due to perspective, the chain behind the immortal mountain peaks must be even more colossal than it appeared. One could scarcely imagine how utterly insignificant a person standing atop one of those immortal peaks would appear compared to such a chain. Gradually, Li Wei and Shen Jingxin drew closer to the immortal mountain peaks, until they were less than 100 li away. Their view ahead was now completely obscured by the towering mountain range. Amidst the peaks, countless jade coffins floated upright, suspended in the air. Alongside the azure jade coffins, a few white jade coffins had also appeared. Don't force us any further. You can't cross that line. It's a forbidden land, a place even the martial Dao Heavenly Emperor wouldn't dare approach. No one can get near those immortal mountains. Anyone who tries will die. Dead. They're all dead. Every cultivator you drove away died on the road. Since we're all doomed to die anyway, why the hell should I listen to you? Ah. Smack. A bone spirit from the blue bone soul devouring army, clad in full armor and wielding a 30-foot-long blue flame whip, lashed out at a demon race cultivator with the head of a tiger and the body of a man. The cultivator was struck back into his original red tiger form, his spine shattered by the whip. The wound seared black, and he lay gasping for breath on the ground, unable to die quickly but doomed to endure endless torment. Those who defy our orders will be whipped to death immediately, the bone spirit declared. Don't let them die too easily. Those who cooperate and guide us into the immortal mountain will be spared. Our commander's word is absolute law, he never goes back on his promises. 50 bone spirits wielding blue flame whips, all immortal realm experts from the blue bone soul devouring army, drove the captives seized from the 100 realms of the living toward the immortal mountain peaks along a blood-soaked path. The crack of whips and agonized screams echoed through the mountain passes. Li Wei and Shen Jingxin dared not approach, observing from afar as thousands of armored blue bone soul devouring army warriors spread across a dozen square miles, searching for paths into the mountain from every direction. Among them, numerous transcendents exuded overwhelmingly powerful qi. 7 dark knights, mounted on true spirit mounts, stood out conspicuously near a temporary palace. The temporary palace, pitch black and nether, rested on the ground behind the main force, borne atop a black jade shell old turtle the size of a hill. The old turtle radiated an aura of extreme danger to Li Wei. With each breath, it created ripples of black qi spanning dozens of miles. Like Zan Ding, it was a dark true spirit who had cultivated the barbarian king Xuanhuan. On the other side, the Blue Bone Soul Devouring Army's vice commander, Heavenly King Yao Chuan, stood beside Blue Bone General Yao Shu, a veteran of the Battle of Dao, outside the temporary palace perched atop a 10-mile-long bone dragon. They gazed intently at the mountain range shrouded in rosy mist ahead, their eyes burning with excitement and anticipation. Even for fallen spirit kings, the silent ghost domain and the burial abyss of the gods were forbidden zones. This was their first time venturing here, and their emotions were palpable. The dark true spirits are truly formidable, Yao Shu remarked to his adoptive father beside him. Their methods are mystical and profound, allowing them to traverse the silent ghost domain. We must warn the Eastern Emperor to exercise extreme caution against them upon our return. The 4 emperors of the Blackwater Bone Mansion were led by the Burial Eastern Emperor, with the Burial Northern Emperor occupying the lowest rank. The Blue Bone Soul Devouring Army served as the Burial Eastern Emperor's direct lineage forces. Their leaders, including the Lord Commander Heavenly King Yi and Deputy Commanders Heavenly King Yao Chuan and Heavenly King Wu Yang, were notorious throughout the Zhongsheng Academy, the Sordao Imperial Court, and the surrounding life realms. They frequently led campaigns eastward, raiding for sustenance. Heavenly King Yao Chuan cast a glance toward the dark, palatial structure to his right, where an elderly figure wearing a black, eagle-like mask stood just outside the entrance, gazing out at the mountains ahead. He scoffed coldly, "We'll use them to gather the 5-colored immortal mud first, then dig up plenty of immortal soil to take back." His words carried layers of meaning. He intended to trap and slaughter the dark true spirit forces in the burial abyss of the gods, preventing them from achieving their goals. Heavenly King Yao Chuan couldn't determine their true purpose in expending such effort to excavate the 5-colored immortal mud. As the driven prisoners approached the immortal mountain, some inexplicably swelled and exploded. Others rapidly aged, collapsing silently to the ground. Still others simply turned to ash as they walked. Despite being an immortal mountain, it radiated terrifying death energy. They're closing in on the mountain step by step. It won't be long before they find a way to survive. We must enter the mountain before them, gather the 5-colored immortal mud, and leave immediately. Li Wei and Shen Jingxin cautiously circled around the rear of the Blue Bone Soul Devouring Army and the Dark True Spirit Army, planning to approach the mountain from another direction. As they passed beneath a floating white jade vertical coffin, Shen Jingxin suddenly grabbed Li Wei's sleeve, stopping him in his tracks. "What is it, immortal maiden?" Li Wei asked, halting immediately. He had never seen Shen Jingxin so flustered, her expression tense and her eyes wide with alarm. "Just now. I thought I saw a figure pass by that bore a striking resemblance to you." Shen Jingxin held her breath, her grip tightening as she slowly raised the Zongdao sword in her hand. Burial in a white jade vertical coffin was a far more prestigious honor than interment in a green jade vertical coffin. Beneath the coffin, the surrounding soil had been transformed into jade within 100 zhong radius, lending an eerie, jade-like luster to the 3-colored spiritual earth. "Don't scare me like that," Li Wei said, glancing around nervously. "I've already encountered enough strange occurrences on this journey. Enough." Suddenly, Li Wei froze, his gaze locking onto something in the distance. He saw it, too. The figure was tall and upright, with a commanding presence, his hair was bound by a wooden coronet and a jade hairpin, and he wore robes of profound black. His facial features were sharper and more defined than Li Wei's, radiating an aura of overbearing dominance and unfathomable depth. He stood directly beneath the white jade coffin, his sharp eyes gazing upward as if scrutinizing something overhead. Though strikingly similar in appearance, he and Li Wei were clearly not the same person. The very next moment, the man turned his gaze toward Li Wei and Shen Jingxin. Blank. End of chapter. Subscribe to the MTL World at Malworld 1 YouTube channel.